Okay, so today we are going to see how we can record the activities, the user activities on website using Jmeter. Yesterday we had seen that how we can create HTTP requests manually when we know what we need to pass along with the web server, the port number, the path of the website, what else? Okay, so now we are going, because as I told you that to construct every request manually is not possible many a times. You may have session IDs which you may not be able to write it yourself. You may have some post data which you don't know how to write. In that case, it is best to record the application using HTTP Proxy server. So I'll show you that now. First, to start with, I'll create a thread group in this test plan. Okay. So this is the starting point of any test. You need to have thread groups to write your test plan, which is test script in this case. Okay. In Jmeter terminology, we call it test plan, but actually it is test script. So any steps would go under thread group. Now you have more controllers, you have more test elements that you can add under this thread group. Yesterday we worked with sampler. We added one sample manually. Samples can directly lie under thread group, or you can have them organized under some controller also. Okay. So what you see on top is logic controller. As the name says, you can organize your code when you're building logic. Suppose you want to set a condition for a particular set of samples that they should be executed only if this condition is fulfilled. In this case, you can use if controller. So basically, controller allows you to club your code, to club your sample according to some logic. Now, since in this example, I'm going to record my steps, so I can easily use recording controller. Okay. Even if you don't use it, is alright. It only helps you organize your code. Controller are nothing but containers which will hold your code. Okay, and you can basically increase your readability. So I will add this recording controller. It is not an essential step. You can even work without it. I'll let you add this and show you how we can use this from Workbench. Okay, so the code is going to come in this recording controller. Whatever recorded steps will come in this recording controller. In Workbench, you will have to add the proxy server. So proxy server is a non-test element. Okay, and if you notice, you see this non-test element only in Workbench. If you right click on the test plan, you don't see non-test element because these non-test elements are not relevant to thread group. In thread group, you will be adding only the test elements, those which are supposed to be run with number of users, with one or more number of users. HTTP proxy server is not a test element which should be run with users. The purpose of this proxy server is to help us record the steps on browser. So that is why you don't see it appearing in test plan. Now let's go to Workbench, right click, add non-test element, and HTTP proxy server you can take. Look at the control panel of this HTTP proxy server. You have name and comments field. You have this global setting which gives you the port 8080, meaning to say that this proxy server will listen on this port. So the point to note is that you have to configure your browser for this proxy, and you have to make sure that this port is free for this proxy to use, because it is going to listen over this port. If for any reason this port is taken by any other application, for example, many applications can use this port up, like sometimes Skype also does this. So if at all while recording you're not able to get your steps or anything like that, some error message or anything, then you can change this port also. Okay. So for now I'll start with this port itself. Coming to the next section here, test plan content. Here you see target controller. Now as I said, controller in Jmeter context is nothing but a container which will hold your steps. So this automatically uses recording controller. So if you do not have recording controller here, I have added recording controller. So what I am instructing Jmeter proxy server is to record all steps in recording controller. This is the target controller. However, if you click on this drop down list, you have more options here. You can directly take your steps. You can directly add your steps to the thread plan, to the test plan thread group, or inside the thread group, the recording controller, which is the same as this recording controller. Or you can also choose to have all your steps added to Workbench HTTP Proxy server. If this is the case, then all the steps will lie here. You can decide what steps to put in recording controller or any other controller here, or in short in thread group in the test plan. Okay, manually you can select the steps you want to put. So I will keep it the default use recording controller. These are the sampler settings. Don't change it, let it be the same. Okay, I will now start my recording. Okay, so this button that you see here at the bottom, start, it is going to start the proxy server, which is going to listen on this port. Okay, but before you start, you have to also configure your browser. So I'll use Mozilla. You can go to Tools, Options, looks slow. Okay. In your Advanced tab under Network, you have the settings here, Connection Settings. Click on this. By default, you may see any of these options, no proxy, or use system proxy, auto detect proxy. Sometimes in organization, you also have manual proxy configuration set. So whatever the case is, to set your browser for to enable your browser to record, to enable your proxy server to record the steps that you do on browser, you will have to make it aligned to this proxy server. So the port we have used is 8080. We are going to use this one as well. Here, manual proxy configuration. This proxy server is running on what IP or what machine name that you provide here. So my proxy server is running on localhost. I leave it like this. The port it is listening to is 8080. Okay, and then I say OK. So now I will start the browser. I'll start the proxy server. The proxy has started, and since I have configured this browser to listen to, since I have configured this browser according to the proxy, whatever I open over here, whatever activities I'll do here will get recorded. Okay. So let us see, I have a website, say demo.steambox.net. This is a small e-commerce website, demo website. So I'm launching this website. And if you go back to your Jmeter screen, you will see the steps are already been added in recording controller. See, so many steps have been added in the recording controller. Okay, and it's only just the the launch of the application, the launch of the website. We have not done any steps. So let us stop it here and let us see what all steps we have got. I stop the proxy server. And now, after stopping the proxy server, you click on any link, it will not show up. The reason being, it was configured, the browser was configured for this proxy server only. Okay, so it will behave as if the connection was reset or if the internet is not available. That kind of problems will show up. So you will have to undo the settings that you have done to be able to see any other URL that you want to see when proxy is not running. So I set it back to no proxy. Okay, and now if I try and see this URL, it should come. Okay, so sometimes when you're recording and you forget to turn off the settings, you may wonder why the pages are not opening. This is the reason. Okay, coming back to the script that we have generated now, with the help of proxy server, we have recorded the steps that happened for the launch of the web application. The first step here is the same web server name and the path is /. So if you notice, the name of the HTTP request is taken as the path as it is. Whatever the path is, the same is the name of HTTP request. Going to the second request, whatever the path is, the same has been taken as HTTP request, and so on. You can just check, right? All of these requests are different, have different methods. Okay, some are GET, some are POST. This is GET. Okay, no POST so far. All right. The idea is that you can have any kind of request, you can have any number of parameters you pass. Okay, well, I will tell you why you're not seeing POST here. If you look at the extension of the path, if you look at this path, the extension, the end of this path, jQuery.min.js. So this is JavaScript, again JavaScript, .css, JS. So these are kind of files which we do not require in our script, because otherwise you see how your test plan is looking pretty cluttered up. All kind of requests, but we don't need all of these. We don't need an image file, we don't need a JS file to be loaded in our test. Okay, all we need is the main forms .asp or JSP or .html. We need that kind of form through which we pass data. Okay, so many times you will not require to load these image files or to load these CSS files. What other kind of files to get loaded? .ico, that is favicon file. What you see here next to your URL, this is the favicon. So you don't want this ICO files, but icon files also, PNG files, GIF files, JPG files. So these are not required. So next time when I record, I would want my proxy server to not capture these requests, to not capture .png, any request ending with so and so extension, which I don't want to include. Okay, or you can manually also get away with them, but why should you do work manually when proxy server can do it for you? All right. You also expand this request and you see that there is HTTP header manager added to each request. Okay, each request has an HTTP header manager. Header manager, it basically signifies what kind of data is flowing. Okay, text, CSS, or you see text HTML. See, text HTML, the encoding language and all that is mentioned in header. You also may not be requiring this in all of the steps. It's just like an overhead. So what you can do is, I'm going to remove all these steps manually. I select when you press shift and you select all these steps, you can select multiple steps. I delete all steps. Recording controller is empty yet again. I will set this browser for proxy server configuration. And in proxy server, if I do not want it to capture headers for all requests, I can turn off this option from here. Okay, capture HTTP headers. I've turned off this option here. I'll start the proxy server, and now I have already configured my browser for this proxy, and I'm going to just launch this website again. Okay, still the same thing I'm doing. I'll stop it quickly. I wanted to show you how to exclude or include some URL patterns so that I don't have to do the cleanup of test. Okay, so I'm going to clear off once again. I forgot this step to add. Okay, you see here in this HTTP proxy server, there is this section URL patterns to include, and there's one more section down there, URL patterns to exclude. So I'm going to make use of this section here, URL patterns to exclude. Whatever patterns I don't want to include, whatever URL ending with so and so extension that I just showed you, which I don't want to include, I will add here. I click on add, a new row gets added. Double click on this white area and you will see a cursor there. So you have to write down the pattern, basically a regular expression which should match with the given URL, and Jmeter will understand to exclude it from the recording samplers. So the pattern is dot star, meaning to say anything, and then you have a slash dot jpg, meaning to say this dot star anything slash dot jpg, meaning any URL which has slash dot jpg. But we also want to denote it, we also want to instruct Jmeter to find this jpg not anywhere in the request but at the end. So to do that, we will put a $, which means that anything may happen, any characters may be there. It should be followed by slash dot jpg at the end. So this $ shows that whatever this string is, this is at the end. So whatever URLs ending with .jpg should be not included in your recorded samples. Okay, I can add some more. Note star slash dot CSS also I don't want to include. So let us work with these two. Another one I can add. JS. Okay, so let's just work with these three exclusions and start recording once again. I relaunch this application. Done. And check out in recording control, it has still included CSS. Okay, let's see why. I have instructed it to not include CSS. Maybe this pattern is wrong. Let me just check it once again. It looks same to me. Anyways, let's do some more steps and then still. Now I'm going to click on this, any of these products, this link here, second demo t-shirt. Okay, so I've got some good steps here. Okay, and then I can click on add to cart. So this test has got 3 steps. I launch the website, I click on any product and add that product to cart. That's it. This much flow is enough. So since CSS has not been excluded, let me check what or why this has not been excluded. Maybe I need to do some correction with the pattern matching, I feel. But anyways, I can remove these steps on my own. So make sure you remove the CSS and JS ones only. Don't remove PHP, because since this application website is coded in PHP, this may help. But as I can see, this is about plugins, like plugins, so I can get rid of this as well. I don't need this. JSON also you can delete. And all these URLs which have no extension at the end, with what you're seeing, should be there in the test plan. Okay. Well, so I've got 4-step plan, 4-step test plan, and I can give them a name. Give each of these samples a name. So this is landing page. The second one is clicking on the link. The third one is adding to cart. The fourth one is final page. I'm sorry, not here. Okay, so now I'm going to save the script. Alright, so I've got this scripts, the samples picked up by HTTP Proxy server. I have worked on this sample, I have renamed them, and we will look at the samples individually in some time. Meanwhile, I can just check out by running this script once. I can add a listener before I run that, because I want to check out the status of each request. So I've added the same listener that we used yesterday, view results tree, because it will give me an idea of each sample status, okay, status one, as well as I'll be able to see the response returned for each sample. Okay, so here I go. I'll run my script. So each of the samples you see are in green, signifying success status, and you can check out the status individually of each request from here also. Response message, response code, response message OK, response message OK, OK, OK. Similarly, you can check what request, what is the URL that was passed. So this is get, again get, again this is get. But you see a lot of data being passed here. The cart type, quantity, item, ID. There's many things that get passed. And then the final page URL. You can check out the response of each. Now this is showing the response in textual format. You can change the format from here, HTML. You'll be able to see the roughly roughly how your page looks like. So it is not well aligned. If you want to download the resources as well while loading this response, we can say HTML download resources. So this will be closer to how your application looks like. But it will take time to load. So this is like, okay, so this is what you can see now. The images also have been loaded. Okay. Next request. I will make it HTML because this will be faster than HTML download resources. So you can check out from the response data that yes, each page is showing up. Sometimes what happens when you're working with websites and you have some session ID or something and you do not take care of them, although the requests will show here in green status, they will all look like as if all of them have passed, but when you look at the response data in HTML format, you will see you are stuck on page number 1. You have not been able to log in successfully, and the message shown that your login was not successful. Okay, so that you can check with this option. You can check the response data in HTML view and make sure that you are able to go through. The steps are going further. Okay, so yeah, over here they are, and I'm able to see different page as per the flow in the response data as well. So this looks like this shows that the test script is doing fine. Because this is a simple application, we are not working with session IDs anywhere. As you can see, this in the landing page, you have nothing getting passed. So this section will show you the parameters being passed with the request. Over here, there are none. The next link also shows nothing. Okay, so it's a simple request. Nothing is getting passed other than this request, where you have the product ID, the card type, and so on. So this is how you record your small flow using HTTP Proxy server.